of course, I got the hardcore crew with me. First, he is the son of a bitch, Andy. Andy, what's shaking?
Everything at the moment, I think.
All right, well, let's hope nothing falls off. And, of course, we have the incomparable Lance Moss over at youtube.com/LanceMossTV. Lance, what's up?
Not much. Let's get this thing going.
All right, guys. Well, you know what? We have a couple of topics. One of them is going to be the possible return of WWE's TV 14 ratings, or as many known it, the Attitude Era. But before that, I got to go on a bit of a rant here. But a couple of days ago, I was in a chat group, which I'm not going to mention, and they had a big ruling where they should ban the Chris Benoit topics. And it really kind of got under my skin because I feel as a real wrestling fan, no topic should be banned, especially Chris Benoit topic, because it creates a lot of controversy, creates a lot of topics. Now, it does create a lot of fighting, but I think on the same token, you got to take the good with the bad. Andy, you obviously are, well aware of the Chris Benoit situation, but what do you think about the Chris Benoit topic being banned in chat rooms? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad, it's totally pathetic. Call yourself, whoever you are, call yourself a wrestling fan, and you ban Chris Benoit, one of the all-time best grappling wrestlers on the planet, without a shadow of a doubt.
And yeah,
they're probably a rock fucking mark or something like that, to be perfectly honest. Probably about 8 or 9. They've only been watching wrestling 3 years.
Yeah, and that's very well possible. I mean, I've noticed that a lot of the older wrestlers fans who've been watching it for 20 or 30 years do kind of lean towards the new generation, and anything else that happened in the past, they're just, not interested. Lance, your thoughts? Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing?
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Straight up. I mean, one, it's a conversation, or a topic, if you will.
Yeah, Sorry, carry on.
I mean, it's like, yeah, they're talking about description, and then it's not as Andy has said, spit the binky out, ban you. I win. No, you don't. You're a bitch.
And, that's exactly what happened with me. I was arguing with the admins. And now keep in mind, I was being very civil. I wasn't swearing, yelling, or even being insulting. And after about an hour of me proving my point, they banned me. And I'm like, wow. It's like, how desperate and how, childish can you get? And it only backed up my point that people are going to fight about anything, not just the Chris Benoit subject.
Yeah, that's just how childish some people are. And I bet you they're the same kind of hypocritical people that say, oh, I don't agree with people that go out and drink and drive, and every Christmas they go visit the parents, have a couple of sherries and drive home. What's the difference, drinking and driving?
Yeah. But let's get on to our main topic. Earlier this week, I read a report that WWE is considering bringing back their TV 14 ratings because there's been such a dip in the ratings. Now, the funny thing is, the man who wants to bring it back is Triple H, who's ahead of creative, but unfortunately he still has one major roadblock, and that's the owner of the WWE, Vince McMahon, who wants to keep things at a PG rating. Now, as a fan, I've watched the Attitude Era even when I was in my 20s, and I thought it was really great. It was very provocative, and I think now the problem is it's being targeted towards younger kids, and the older people who are, from the older teens, I'd say 16, 18, 23, 25 range, they're all going to watch other things. If they're not watching football or hockey, they're watching MMA because that's real fighting. It's really violent. And the problem with WWE, we always knew what it was, but it didn't have that reality. Andy, your thoughts?
To be perfectly honest, and I stand by what I'm going to say now. This is my views, not HWR's views. WWE should never be PG, period. As far as I'm concerned, children who are going to be offended by seeing a bit of cleavage or some person bleeding in a wrestling ring shouldn't be watching that particular program. It should be over 18s only. Yes, I watched it at a young age, but my parents taught me wrong from right. The difference is today, parents don't seem to give a shit about the kids. They come home from school, they talk to the little turds on the internet, go on porn sites, but the parents think they're all sweet and innocent. So they're not going to see anything they don't already know about. And Anything under certificate 18 for wrestling to me is a joke.
Well, I agree. And, the funny thing is, you talked about how parents should be more taking care of their children. And you know what? That's the problem. TV has become the proverbial babysitter for a lot of these kids. And
Precisely. I watched a program, nothing to do with wrestling, and this was so true. This guy came out with a comment which was so true. When you have a baby, the TV is your best friend because you stick the baby in his little bouncy chair in front of the television and it saves having interaction with the child and the parent, and that's what's wrong with today's society.
Yeah, and I can't agree with you anymore. And keep in mind, there's other issues with that. Now, they have like mobile phones, which a lot of kids, which in their early teens, they have it because their parents feel, oh, I can get in contact with my kids anytime. But what they forget about is that they can watch anything that they can. It's a mobile internet.
Yeah.
Why?
Now, I don't agree with these parents that say, oh, little Johnny's 8. All his friends have got mobile phones. He has to have a mobile phone in case he gets stuck or he goes out somewhere and he can't get back home. I was brought up when you guys are not much younger. We didn't have mobile phones. If my mum and dad said I had to be in by 8 o'clock, they bought me a fucking watch and I was in by 8 o'clock or I got grounded. What do you need a mobile phone for at the age of 8?
Well, again,
somebody please tell me what you need a mobile phone for at the age of 8.
Yeah,
Angry Birds.
But let's get back to the wrestling. I kind of, here in the moment, we do kind of digress into other topics, so you're gonna have to bear with us. That's just the way we roll on the show. But getting back to the WWE and how they're considering about doing the Attitude Era and how they want, I think what they should do is be able to let the wrestlers talk freely and be able to drop what they call the proverbial pipe bombs. That's what made CM Punk so big. If you recall, even back during the Attitude Era with DX, Triple H and HBK was able to do what they wanted, said what they wanted, which was very, very provocative. If you remember when the DX first was in the heyday, they were doing a playing strip poker in the middle of the ring.
Yeah. To be perfectly honest, wrestlers, if they can't write their own scripts, don't deserve to be on television.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't believe in writing a script. People like Jake the Snake Roberts didn't write a script. It was, as they say, on the fly, off the cuff. Watch any of these masters at their profession on any shoot videos that you can find on YouTube, and you just say to them, you could say to Jake the Snake Roberts, give me a promo about baked beans. Instantly, you can do your promo. You walk up to these new guys and say, give me a promo, what you sell yourself. They can't do it. They haven't got a clue.
I think there are a few exceptions. Not all of them, obviously, yes, a lot of them do be complacent, but, I think the main problem, obviously, is the WWE kind of keeping a lock on these guys. And one of the, examples is, if you recall, like 2 weeks ago, Paige dropped a really big pipe bomb where she trashed every single diva, including some NXT divas. After that, the WWE said, from now on, you cannot, badmouth any wrestlers in development because it makes them look bad. Now, one of the persons that she trashed, of course, was Eva Marie, and I think everybody knows that Eva Marie, her start was less than impressive. I mean, she has been trying to working in privately with training with several wrestlers, other professional wrestlers, and Brian Kendrick was her main trainer, and she has been getting better. Actually, she wants to do her finishing move, which is called the Kendrick or Sliced Bread 2. Andy, do you think, again, we're getting back to these, WWE wanting to swipe problems under the towel, I can't even talk today. But do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing with WWE sweeping things under the carpet?
Comes down to what I've said all along. 90% of the people who are in NXT have bought their way in there. They don't even deserve to be in there. They shouldn't have these issues in NXT. NXT is there for the up-and-coming next future superstars. And from what I can see, it's full of anybody who's got $5,000 that can wrestle up a pair of boots. No. It's full of jerk-offs. There's an handful of talent, and there's 5,000 jerk-offs. Curtain jerkers, as Joe would call them. That's all they are, glorified curtain jerkers.
Yeah, and of course, the classic wrestling manager Joseph Knight could not be with us tonight as he had some other things he had to take care of. But Lance, let me ask you this. Obviously, we're still talking about the gag orders. Now, one of the more recent gag orders was, of course, the Hulk Hogan. Nobody can mention Hulk Hogan. Nobody can refer to Hulk Hogan. Nobody can even talk to Hulk Hogan, that's associated with the company. Um, what's your reaction to this? Is this a good thing, again, or is this a bad thing?
It's a typical thing, to be honest with you. Vince sees a little bit of controversy, squashes it, kills it, burns it to the ground. That's what he does. I mean, let's face it, Seth Rollins, the only reason he didn't get fired, I think he might be somebody's butt buddy backstage. I don't know, maybe. But his girlfriend got the axe. Benoit got the axe. Well,
he got erased.
Yeah. Hogan basically got erased.
And again, and you know what? You brought up another point. Hulk Hogan got erased, and look at the history that guy has done for the company. You can't find him anywhere because of comment that he made 7 years ago in private that was recorded without his permission. And the WWE didn't stand behind him. Not because it was racist, not because it was controversial, because he wasn't significant enough. If the shoe was on the foot and that was a modern day wrestler, let's say if it was Seth Rollins, he would still have a job today. Seth Rollins.
He'd be a jobber, but he'd still have a job.
I don't even think so. Come on, Seth Rollins. Look at the Seth Rollins selfie pic that he did. He flashed.
Nobody's more, and everybody knows this, nobody's more racist than Vince McMahon himself. I mean,
exactly.
Loads of people say just how racist that guy is.
Well, let's talk about somebody else who is racist, who's still with the company. P.S. Michael Hayes. He had two different situations where he used, I'm going to use the N word, we know what we're referring to. One was to Mark Henry, somebody in the company. And then another one was a creative writer who he called him a sand blank. I'm sorry, that's one word we don't use here. And,
To be perfectly honest, we're living in a so-called politically correct society. But in my opinion, the people who are offended by the N-word are people who are just after something to bitch about, because the N-word's been around since time immemorial, as the phrase goes. People call me honky, white, whatever. Does it offend me? No. How can anybody be offended by being called an N when they are black?
Well,
at the end of the day, it's short for Negro. I'm sorry, if you look.
No, it's not actually.
On the dictionary, it's Negro. It's like
no, Andy, you're wrong. You're wrong on that one. It means ignorant. That's the definition.
All the people who were offended by the N-word are ignorant. Then.
Well. Anyways, this is not what this is about, and I think that racism is an issue, and I understand that WWE is trying to be politically correct in this politically correct era that we live in, but if they're going to go back down to the TV 14, they can't be politically correct. They kind of have to raise that bar and just kind of step over it and say, you know what, if you're going to be offended, fuck off. And that's how the WWE used to be, and that's what got them their ratings. Back in the Attitude Era, their ratings were, they had like 5-6 million people watching them. Now, they're lucky if they can break 3. Yeah, They've lost half their viewers.
There's nothing politically correct, though, about not being able to use the N-word. At the end of the day, we're bowing down to the black society, saying we don't like it, don't use it anymore. So they are being racist to us that we can't use language that we've used for years. Is it correct? No, it's not correct, but it's just something that's always been a word in the English language. Deal with it. I just don't really see what the problem is. I've got coloured friends that I speak to that are half-caste. I've got people that were both parents were born in the West Indies. They're as black as the day is long. They greet each other with, how you doing, N? That's the greeting. They laugh and giggle about it. I can call them the N-word. They're happy. It's the way you use the word.
Exactly. It's all about the context. And
it's like text. If you text someone and say, how the fuck are you? Somebody might see that as a derogatory remark. Somebody that knows you well knows that you're joking. So people take it completely out of context. And I fully agree with what Hulk Hogan did on the conversation I've heard that's been plastered all over TMZ when he was pissed off that basically Brooke Hogan's boyfriend was treating her like shit, and he just slipped out with, he's nothing but an N. I don't see anything wrong with that. That's how a father would talk about protecting his daughter. It was a private phone call, should never got out in the open. And I'll challenge anyone listening to this now who says they are not racist. I bet you've used that N-word at some point in your life and meant it nastily.
And you know
So
what?
Don't say that you're not racist. Everyone's slightly racist.
You know what? I'll even take it a little bit further, because you talked about saying things that you don't mean, even in privacy. And you know what? I have to say I'm no better. I've said and done a lot of things that I'm not proud of that I've not announced. And I can. Anybody else has. I don't care who you are. Everybody in life, people in life make mistakes.
When you're in a fit of rage, words come to the end of your tongue, and you say things that have got a really nasty meaning. And can you take them back after they've come out your mouth? No, not really.
No, absolutely. Now, I do want to jump on to another subject. Over the past few months, we've seen the development of what's called the Diva Revolution. And at first, it was really, really impressive, but it's starting to really get stale. We're starting to finally see Team PCB break up, which is a good thing, but all the other teams so far are still kind of getting together. And one person who surprisingly agreed that the Divas division is getting stale again is Paige. She actually said this on an interview, and she felt that, and this is her quoting, "I felt the whole Divas Revolution is starting to get stale. I thought it definitely needed a kick in the ass a little bit. Vince McMahon and our writers are so cool with the promo, they definitely gave me freedom to say what I wanted. However, it's only to a certain point now. Now that she, dropped that pipe bomb and insulted Eva Marie, which was in development, they put a gag on her. So somebody like Eva Marie, somebody like Paige, who was great on the mic, could shoot those great promos, she now has gag orders on you. And I'm trying to figure out, does the WWE want to go the TV-14, or do they want to have this politically correct PG era, which sucks? It's dull, it's dry, it's predictable. And, I want anybody who, of course, who's over like 18 or over to disagree with me. I challenge one. I don't think anybody can. Especially somebody who's been watching wrestling for 10 or 15 years. If you've only watched wrestling for 4 or 5 years, obviously you're not going to see anything different. I've watched wrestling for over 35 years, and I've seen it progress from the 80s, back in the territories, to the Attitude Era of the Monday Night Wars, by far the best time, to the shell of a company that's become now, and it's really starting to suck, guys.
The best thing they can do, to be perfectly honest, and I'm sure you guys will agree with me, is to drop the term diva. They're female wrestlers. They're not divas.
Yeah, but Vince don't like that word. Wrestler.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the diva, I think it's just like with TNA, they call them knockouts. It's divas and knockouts. It's just a word. It's just a term, and I don't really see anything wrong with that.
The only trouble with the word, to me, the only trouble with the word diva, all you think about is who is the most attractive, who's got the best tits, who's got the nicest body, stuff that they've got talent in the ring. We're watching them wrestle. They're female wrestlers, whether people like the word wrestlers or not. They are female wrestlers, and the quicker they get the women's title back instead of this shit divas division, the quicker we might see some improvement. But how the roster is at the moment, all the pretty girls are still coming forward. There's dog ugly girls in NXT with loads of talent, and they're going nowhere because they're not fuckable. Who cares?
And again, I think you came right back down to it that, in WWE, it's all about the looks and some about what they can do in the ring. Now, you have wrestlers like AJ Lee and Paige who are very sexy that could wrestle. You had somebody that wrestles like Lita, Trish Stratus, absolutely drop-dead fucking gorgeous and talented in the ring. Then you get somebody like the Bellas. Now, the Bellas are absolutely beautiful, two beautiful women, but their wrestling skills, they've gotten a little bit better, but it's still nothing super impressive. Alicia Fox, beautiful woman, can't wrestle. Then you look over in TNA. Now, TNA, I admit that's a sinking ship. But when you look at the knockouts, they have some great talent. There's some beautiful, hot-looking women. People like Brooke Adams, also known as Miss Tessmacher, who's gorgeous. Can she wrestle? Yes, she can. And then you have somebody like ODB, which I have to say she's not the most sexy woman in the world, but she can wrestle. She can perform. Then you have somebody like Karma, also known as Amazing Kong. Now, she's a big woman. I'd say she's not bad looking. She's not hard on the eyes, but her main skill is wrestling. That is the main attribute, and that is a problem with WWE. They can't see past that.
They can't even see past it with the current roster of men. They seem to be looking for pretty boys, and girls don't go. Vince, I'm not a female, but I have females in my life, and I've got a partner, female, not a male partner. Normally, when people say they've got a partner, that means they've got someone of the same sex. Now, let's get this right.
Well, you have a male stalker, but that's a different story.
I have a girlfriend of 11 years, basically a wife. And to be perfectly honest, girls don't go for pretty boys. Vince, live in the real world. Speak to your daughter. Triple H is hardly a Lucha.
And that's a very valid point. But, I mean, WWE, you can't say they're all pretty boys. I mean, look at Braun Strowman. Not exactly somebody that you want to bring home to your mother. A woman will bring home to her mother. And look at somebody like Bray Wyatt. Not exactly.
Look what they're doing. I mean, we've all jumped on the back, and I like the guy, that Bray, who's come in now. I really do think he's got the makings of talent. But look what they've done again. A new guy's come into the company. He's only been in a day. And he's the next big thing. They've done it with Seth Rollins. They've done it with Roman Reigns. What's happened to them? They've killed them before they've started.
Oh, I disagree. Well, hold on. Seth Rollins right now is still a ring champion.
To me, wrestling, fans make wrestlers. Wrestlers don't make wrestlers. Promoters don't make wrestlers.
Again, this is where I agree with you, but I also disagree with you. I agree that the fans have to get over it, and that's what makes them stars. But if that wrestler does not have it, what's the point? The fans aren't going to get behind him. Look at Seth Rollins. Now, the fans hate him as a heel. Oh, and we have some technical difficulties, guys. This is Skype fucking up, and I do apologize, but we're going to wrap it up here. We want to know your thoughts. Please make sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Please make sure you take that time and hit the like button. Also, finally, and last but not least, I'd like to thank the son of a bitch, Andy. We can find him at stokecontent.com. You can also find Lance over at youtube.com/LanceMossTV. So for everyone here, I am your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.